Thank you for joining. I see that people are already writing, so thank you for testing out the chat and making sure that everything's okay. Jason, welcome.
How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Let's give another minute for a few more people to join. I know that we have quite a few participants and those that we pushed off from last week. So while we wait for a couple more people to join us, please share with us in our standard ritual. Tell us where you're joining us from today by testing out the chat, and let's see if it works. Hello, Nico. Welcome, Corey. Yes, Nico, you are muted. This session, all participants are muted, but feel free to chat. We'll be reading the chat and Q&A. Sure, welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello from London. Great, we have a global audience today. Dominique, welcome. Thank you for joining. Great. Jason, should we kick it off
I think
officially?
so. I think let's go.
Welcome. Wonderful. So, hello again, everyone, and welcome. We're thrilled to have you join us today. My name is Muna Asi, and I head the product marketing team here at Atera, and I'm excited to be joined by Jason and to be hosting today's webinar. Our exciting session today, Supercharging IT, we'll be sharing practical use cases of Atera's AI Copilot. So, if you are here looking for ways to reduce risk, boost your team's productivity, and even streamline all kinds of IT operations, then you've definitely come to the right place and to the right webinar. Today's webinar is really all about real world applications and use cases. We're not going to talk fluff and we're not going to share all of the value around AI Copilot. We really want to focus on specific use cases and to give you insights on how you can start using it here and now. So, whether you're here exploring AI for the first time or you're already using AI Copilot but looking for ways to maximize the use, then this is what we're going to focus on today. So, let me start by sharing our slides. Let's do that here. Just make sure you can see the slides and we're all good.
Looks good to me.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jason. So, just a little bit about our agenda. We'll do a short introduction and then we'll talk a little bit about, why AI Copilot and what necessitates to rethink and introduce AI into your domain. And then we're going to spend the majority of the time with Jason here walking through a demo and visualizing some practical use cases. And then, of course, we'll leave time for Q&A at the end. So again, officially, hi, Jason. Welcome. Jason leads our customer experience team here in Atera. He's co-hosting with me. Jason has a lot of experience working with a lot of Atera customers that are starting off with AI Copilot, that are using the platform. So this is why we solicited him to help us bring some examples from the different cases that he's seeing.
Happy to be here. Excited.
Thank you, Jason. Just some housekeeping. I know I saw that a few of you are asking about the ability to speak. So this session is being recorded and will be shared with all participants after the webinar, usually within 24 hours. So you can share that with your teams. We do invite you to share your questions in the Q&A window. We'll be addressing questions at the end of the session, but we may also look and answer questions throughout the webinar. At the end of the webinar, we have a very short survey, simply 3 questions. I invite you to please respond to those. It helps us improve and to bring content that's relevant for you. Okay, so without further ado, I will okay. Before we go directly into the demo, as we talked about, if you are a first-time visitor to an Atera webinar, if you are not an Atera customer, I'd love to tell you briefly about who we are. So Atera, both the company name and the platform, is an enterprise-grade unified platform that consolidates all you need for IT management from remote monitoring and management tools to ticketing and help desk, patching, IT automation, software deployment, remote access, and all of that infused with our core action AI, where our AI Copilot resides, and it touches each and every aspect of the platform. Today, Atera proudly supports more than 12.5 thousand clients globally and 6 million devices. So all of this goodies that we're sharing with you today is really from those insights that we have from the different customers and the different devices that are leveraging Copilot. So Jason, in order to give you a little insight about our audience, I'd love to throw out a poll here. So if the audience doesn't mind answering, just tell us a little bit about, are you currently using any AI tools or assistants in your work today? Not necessarily in IT, but obviously if in IT, we'd love to know. So just go to the polls tab. You should see it to the right and feel free to respond. We'd love to know what kind of audience we have, if you are AI savvy, if you're just starting off with AI. Okay, we have a few responses here, Jason, so maybe I can start sharing those. Great. So what we see, wonderful. So most of the votes here are between regularly and occasionally. Is that what you're seeing, Jason, usually when you talk to our clients?
In general, what I'm seeing a bit of people who are, most of them have heard of ChatGPT. I think that's the most of what I hear is, ChatGPT, and things like that. Whether people are actively using it within their day-to-day, it does kind of range here. We see, yes, regularly 8 votes, occasionally 6 and no, but I'm interested in 3. It's kind of what I'm hearing in terms of, my day-to-day and speaking to customers in their day-to-day as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we start to talk about why AI, right, Jason, and this is also from your domain, really the question is that we're asking or that we're hearing isn't whether AI will play a role in customer service or even how it will play a role. It's really a matter of when, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not thinking about AI today, as an organization, you're probably falling behind. And did you know, Jason, that based on the customer insights that we did through the product marketing and product team, 26% of the repetitive service requests are related to access and permissions?
Interesting. Never knew that.
Okay, so basically things like password resets. I cannot access or I don't have access on a specific domain. 26% of IT professionals' time goes to that. The other areas we've seen are email issues. I can't access an email, or there's an issues with Outlook, or the email has been blocked. 24%. So more than 50% of IT issues are those same repetitive requests that an IT personnel have to respond to, which in theory, and you can show us some of that today, are things that we can eliminate with the help of AI Copilot, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So I think without further ado, maybe we'll go directly into that and see what are some of those practical use cases and an overview of how Copilot's helping. Let me stop sharing to give you an opportunity, Jason, to share from your screen.
All righty. Let me share. You guys can see my screen, right?
We can.
Amazing.
Yep, now we can.
Okay, so first and foremost, for those who aren't currently using Atera, this is kind of what our platform looks like. This is the dashboard. I'm not going to be spending much time on the dashboard, but those who are wondering what Atera does look like from the inside, this is your first view of our platform. As you can see, very intuitive, easy to use. Everything kind of fits where it should go. And these are things that I get from customers when I speak to them about our platform being very intuitive with comparison to other tools that they've used in the past. But that's not the focus for today. Focus for today is going to be on how our AI really kind of boosts the performance of the technician. Okay, so this is something that I think is important. Is this is not something to replace the technician. This is something that's going to enhance technicians. So what does that mean for you if you're an IT manager or if you're a technician also? Is that you're able to deliver results faster. Okay, quicker first response time, quicker resolution time, less multi-touch tickets. This is where AI is really taking over and really assisting IT managers and IT teams. So what I'm going to do, as Muna kindly correctly said, is really focus on the examples that I hear a lot of our users and IT managers using on a day-to-day basis. So you'll see our AI is not just focused in one part on our ticketing section or on our RMM section. It's really kind of going all over the platform, and you'll see multiple places. So it's easy for you to access the AI when you need it. So for example, here, I'm not going to go into it yet, but this little button on the bottom right-hand side here is basically what we call our universal copilot, which I'll get to in a second. But what I want to focus on today, now for the next few minutes, is going on a specific device filtering quest. Okay, so originally, what you would do with Atera, we have an amazing filtering tool where you're able to filter by multiple fields, multiple device types. Then we have advanced filters, and this is where the magic happens. I'm not going to do an advanced filter here, but you can see pretty much it's pretty endless in terms of what you can filter. But it can be a bit of a challenge, and it can be tricky to kind of figure out what exact filter we want to use. So in this case, what do? We go to filter with ask the ask question over there, and we get as you saw there, we had a few options. But basically what I want to do is I want to do a filter. So I want to see show all devices that are running Windows 10. And I'm sure you guys all know that the reason why I'm asking this is because we know that eventually Windows 10 is going to be upgraded to Windows 11. So what we can see here is we basically created a filter. Okay, if I go into the filter here and I go into the advanced filter, I should see Windows contains Windows 10. So there you can see, I mean, I could have done this myself. This was kind of an easy example, but you get the idea. Okay, I'm going to go one step further. So basically what you can do, just so you're aware of the next steps, is you basically are able to select these devices, and then you can run a script. You can do an automation profile. You can install software. So you really see the ability of something that might take you a few minutes to kind of figure out exactly the filter you want to use to a few seconds. Then another example that I think is actually quite interesting is I want to see the devices that have not been rebooted in the last 30 days, for example. Okay, now again, something that's very important is looking at devices that haven't been restarted. Why this is important, we all know that if Windows downloads the update, if we don't restart our device, Windows will not update, and same for specific software. Okay, so again, from here, what we could do, we could go here, we could kind of do a whole bunch of actions. We could restart directly from here. So really you start to see that all these mundane tasks that you kind of have to go and do one by one, or kind of have to filter first, for those guys who aren't using Atera, you're kind of seeing the real power of Atera here. But what we're doing is we're taking it one step further. Okay. So for now, the next example I have, which is going to be the last one for device filtering, because you can kind of get the idea, is I want to do a specific motherboard. So I want to see for a specific CPU, all the devices with an Intel CPU. Okay. Now, again, what we have, and there we apply the filter, and just so you can see, we can go into the filter here, we can go advanced filter, you see processor contains Intel, and then we see all the devices that have an Intel processor. So again, very basic examples. These can get more complex, but as you can see, the power of this and the ability of you to save time is really, really great. So this is kind of where the device filtering, I'm not going to carry on here because you guys kind of get the idea. So you have a specific thing, or you can think of, I don't know, Windows 11, which devices are ready for Windows 11, which ones need upgrading, how many devices do I have that have less than 4 gigs of RAM that need to upgrade. If you're an MSP, for example, you want to find maybe some ideas of where you can sell hardware to customers. If you do that, then you're able to come here and filter and make actions on that. So really the ability here is really, it's exponential in terms of once you figure out, once you know things you want to ask, you ask it and it gives you the answer. So that's kind of the first thing I wanted to touch on in terms of the more basic side of things. That all we're doing here is kind of adding a filter on the devices page. Very powerful, but very simple. What I want to do now is I want to go to a specific device, okay, which is, I want to look for, so let me just clear this over here. And I want to go to a specific device. Now, as I mentioned before, you can see AI kind of scattered, within the platform. You see it over here, you see one over here, and you see one over here. Like I said before, Universal Copilot, I'm going to leave that for now. The next thing I want to show you is on a specific device. Okay, so what I'm going to use now is I'm going to use Windows Demo. I'm going to go into this, and I could have done this from the screen before. I could have clicked AI here, and it'll kind of bring me to, this is the Copilot here, but this is Copilot for a specific device. As you can see on the top here, we can see Windows Demo. So we know we're relating to this specific device. Okay, I'm going to go into the device, and I'm going to click Copilot over here. Okay. And what I want to do now is just keep in mind that this is a demo device, and I don't think, or it might be a VM, so I don't know if the user is actually logged in, but the ideas will become very, very much apparent to you once I start running through some examples. So the first thing I want to do is maybe a user reaches out to you. I know as much as we'd like them to use a portal or a ticket, they WhatsApp you and say, hey, my print is not working, or I can't print. So on this specific device, we can go ahead and we can say run all printer diagnostics. Okay. I will add, I'm trying to type the best English I can, but it's not case sensitive. It's not spelling mistake. I've made bad spelling mistakes, and it still does work. Okay. So what we see here, and this I think is really where the power of having AI integrated within your IT management platform is amazing, because we have a device we have an agent on the device, sorry, we have the ability to use natural language, okay, to basically to run an action or to figure out specific things. So for this specific example, we can see what we did was we did a whole bunch of diagnostics, on the specific thing, on the specific device, and we got an answer. Okay, again, like I said, it doesn't look 100% correct because I'm using a demo device, but this is something that you guys will be able to use. Okay, so what I want to do again is, another interesting one is how many Windows users are using this device. Okay, which is an interesting one. I can't type and speak, as you can see. How many Windows users are using this device? Okay. And again, so basically what we're doing here is we're turning natural language into valuable insights. So again, here we're doing a little system diagnostics. Again, if it takes a bit of time, it's because we're querying the device. So again, the time saving here is really immense once you get to know it. I see it didn't give me a specific example. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Hold on for a moment. I don't think it's going to give me one for this case. Let me see. Okay, let's see. So now it's basically figuring out, again, because the device is probably a demo device, is probably why it's not working so well. I do know, okay, it's part of a domain, local user accounts that aren't, okay. There we go. So again, my device here wasn't exactly the perfect device to use, but what it did was it kind of went through. This is actually a very good example of us showing how it works. Basically, it's kind of tried to figure out to log into the device and see what are the users, and then kind of at the end said, okay, seems the device is part of a domain and local user account details aren't accessible directly, and then basically we can use the domain management tool for the user. If you need further assistance, let me know. So this is again something that, and we could go further and ask it, okay, so what should I do? And it will give you the answer. Actually, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, help me more. And let's see what it'll give us. Chances are it will figure out, it'll probably tell us to go into the specific tool. Let's see. Okay. Didn't exactly work this time, but let's carry on with another example. How many? Let's see. Okay. Another one that we can ask it, again, going through the diagnostics tool, is the machine is running slow. Okay. And what I want you guys to see here is basically what tests we're running on the background, that is going to, help you kind of identify what the issue is. So again, we see all the specific tests that it's running, okay? And that then helps us, identify, it will identify where the problem might be. And then from there, let's see, so we'll go through it. And then from there, it will suggest specific ideas. So we see the system, we see the disk speed, we see free space. Let's go up, CPU usage. Okay, so here we see, so performance insights, we see specific things. Now again, this is something that we can do. So let's do something. So let's run a disk cleanup. Okay. And then from here, what it should do is again, because it didn't really find anything that was wrong. If it found something that was wrong, for example, the disk space was low, it would give us that as a specific, example that wasn't working so well. So let's see what we get when you run a disk cleanup. It should most of the time, okay, user not logged in. It's okay. Again, this is something that you need to have a user logged in to do, which is okay. Okay, so you can see the ability here again. As you've seen here before, it's giving us the specific stats on the device. Again, because the device I'm using, is a demo device. It's not exactly giving me what you guys would see. I really encourage you to go and try it yourself. That's kind of where the power is here. I'm kind of giving you examples, and I want you guys to go and you guys to use the examples that I'm doing, or kind of be creative and kind of, think of other examples. Another
I'd
thing
offer
that
you my machine, Jason, but I wouldn't want you to restart my computer
Dear,
while I'm presenting, right? I could
that's it.
probably be
That's
there
it.
in the demo machines.
Yeah, cool. Exactly. Next thing, what I want to show is something that I think is, quite powerful, that you're going to see over here in the activity log on the bottom right. So what we also have is we have the ability to basically look at a specific splash top. So let's say a user, and I know this is something especially for those MSP users out there, or MSP managers out there, is the fact that you'll do a remote session, or one of your techs will do a remote session, and you want to know what happened in that remote session. You can see it happened here. We kind of record it, but what exactly happened in the remote session? So you can see over here, we actually have the ability to actually generate a summary. So we can see this technician on this date, at this time, the date and the time was on the right-hand side. Basically, they initiated a remote session. They clicked on desktop, news and interest, and we can see exactly what they did. So now we have the ability to kind of see exactly what happened on the specific splash top session. which I think is something that's really, really amazing to see as a QA. Many different quality assurance to kind of look what happened on a session. So that's something also that I don't think a lot of our users know, that I think is something very, very powerful, that you can use in your day-to-day, or maybe on a month end, to kind of really evaluate how the technicians and how you're performing.
And Jason, if
Cool.
you don't mind, I know that
Yeah.
this question comes up a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
to overcome this question before it comes up, there's
Mm-hmm.
always a question about data protection and privacy
Yeah.
versus GDPR, and if this type of feature that you just showed now, what type of data is it collecting, and
Mm-hmm.
can you access the files of those devices that are actually logging in? And it's important to share here that Atera follows. First of all, we take data privacy and compliance with GDPR regulations very seriously, and we follow a very standardized protocol of responsible AI. What we log is the activity of the technicians for your monitoring and operational purposes, but we do not capture screen data. Okay, so this allows you to better support and manage the team, but it's not about what content was on that data, what user privileges or information that is captured. We follow very, very strict data processing standards in our terms of use document. You can see it. So it was important for me to highlight it here for those of you maybe reluctant to leverage or utilize the capability. Please don't. And if you do have and want to get more information, reach out to our team and we'll share with you our terms of use and our data protection policies. There's nothing to worry about from that aspect.
Cool. Exactly, Moon. I want to also, say for those who are looking at potentially getting onto Atera, that we obviously are GDP compliant, SOC 2 Type 2, ISO. I forgot the ISO, what it is. I'm not sure what the ISO is, but we've got everything in check. So you don't need to worry about any of these things. We kind of use AI in a very closed. We're a partner with OpenAI from Microsoft, and we kind of use a very closed environment. So no data gets, leaves or anything like that. So you're very safe with us. Thanks for bringing that up, Muna. It's a very important note. Okay. So next, what I want to do is I'm going to jump to the Universal Copilot. Okay, I'm going to go. You can do it from here, but I want to kind of go to the dashboard so we don't get confused in terms of what I'm doing. So now I want to do the Universal Copilot. Okay, let's go back and new chat. So here you can see, as you can see here, basically what we have is I don't have a specific device listed under all chats. So what does that mean is basically now we don't have a specific device we're looking at. We're looking at our Atera platform holistically. Okay, this is why we call it Universal Copilot. It's basically looking over our entire Atera instance that I'm currently on. So one of the things that I want to do is this also kind of relates to fetching data. So something that I want to see, or that that I hear a lot of our customers asking, or maybe IT manager or technician or IT manager who kind of needs to show the director of IT, whatever it may be, how many tickets we've opened, how many tickets have been opened in the last 30 days that are related to the printer, for example. And there is a spelling mistake there, but it doesn't really matter. So what this should do now is this will go into, again, Universal Copilot. This will go into our ticketing system. So those of you who haven't yet, who aren't implemented into our ticketing system, if you guys are using our RMM system and not our ticketing system, I urge you guys to get on that. Why? Because it's something that I feel is, you get the most value out of using our AI if you integrate it into both sections of our platform. Okay, so here you can see here, right away, we get a ticket that says in the last 30 days, 16 tickets have been related to printers. Again, simple task, but it took me a matter of seconds, as opposed to going through the ticketing system and going and counting and saying 1, 2, 3, or maybe, filtering, maybe using a filter. We can come here, ask questions, natural language, and we get answers straight away. Another one that I want to see, which is a very interesting one, is I want to see list all the devices, okay, that are not ready for Windows 11. Okay, so what this should do is this again, if you're an MSP, this gives you a decent idea of specific, if you're selling hardware or just as a good service provider, if you are, able to, basically we can see here, we're going to have a list of all the devices that I have. So what you can do here is that it'll give you the devices that might need to be upgraded or replaced before, I think it's October, if I'm not mistaken, of when, end of life of Windows 10 will be, if my memory serves me correctly. So basically, again, here, we start to, really start to figure out, maybe you're an IT technician and your manager asks you, comes into your desks and asks you, we need to see by in the next 5 minutes, or maybe they'll give you the next hour, what devices are not ready for Windows 11. Here you go, you pop this up here, you copy paste this into a sheet or on an email, and there we go. Simple and easy. Okay. Something that I like that's really cool is basically we also have the ability that what we can do is we can actually analyze an image. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to upload an image, and you'll all see what the image is about. Okay, and then I want to say, what does this error mean? I'll show you guys what it was, what I uploaded, and how to solve it. Okay, there we can see there. I know it's a bit small, but I hope you guys can see. It's basically a Visual C++ runtime error. So let's see what it does. Again, most of you guys probably know how to solve this, but for those guys who are learning, for those guys maybe who don't know, basically you can take a screenshot, and what it'll do is it'll give you what the error explanation is. So basically, related to Internet Explorer, solution steps, and ensure system is up to date with the latest patches, refer to recent fixes. What I want to do now is I want to go one step further, and I want to say, write me a PowerShell, there we go, PowerShell script to fix it. Okay. And basically, what it'll do is it writes me a script. Okay. So what I can do from here is I have the ability to copy this if I want to. It's a PowerShell script. So I can go to the specific device. So I can copy this. Let's say the device was our Windows demo device. I then have the ability to go into manage, PowerShell, run as system, and then I have the ability, it might not connect me. It does connect me. I can paste that over here if it will let me paste. Okay. And there we go. Okay. Again, I'm not the professional scripter here, I'll be honest, guys. So when you guys are doing things like this, I recommend that you check them. But if you see the ability to go from, we have a screenshot. Okay, let's go back to the chat. We have a screenshot. We ask it, please tell me what happened. It tells you, it gives you some solutions, and goes one step further to say, okay, I want a script, I want to fix it. So with somebody who sends you a screenshot, or you have a screenshot, the ability for you to problem solve here is, is amazing, really. And this was a simple task, or maybe a simple error, but you see the power of this. And this is just the start of, you can probably start thinking of, how many ways you can start doing things like this, how many scripts you can start generating like this. So this is kind of where, really the power starts to come in again. And this is something we added more recently in terms of the ability to add an image and how you can use that image, to solve the issue that you have. Basically from there, those are the biggest points that I wanted to touch on. I do want to mention, I did show you guys here in terms of we did build a script here. We do also have, in general, our script generator, which has a lot, a lot more power if you do it from here. Okay, and what you can do from here, I'm not going to do a specific example because we can use a specific example from before. Is you have the ability to add variables. Okay, so this is something we added. You can add variables here. And really we'll do an example. I don't know, let's just choose this one so you guys can see it in action if you guys haven't seen it already. So really the ability here, is really amazing. You can go, I'll give you kind of a flow of how I've spoken to customers and how they use it. Is they'll come here, they'll get a script, they'll create the script, they'll then go into, maybe they want to, for example, create we'll actually do this one for you. So create a desktop icon for Chrome, for example. Okay, we'll get the script, we'll create the script. Okay, cool, we have the script here. What then we can do is we can go one step further. For those guys who aren't using Atera, who are looking at Atera, we then have the ability to go into a profile, IT automation profile, okay? And we can actually, we'll go into a profile that we've already used. We can then, over the bottom here, add a script, and my script will be the one we've just generated. We then have the ability to run the script. We add the script here. Let's say this was the script. We can select the script. We then have the ability to add a schedule. We then can run it daily on all the specific devices. So you really start to see how we've thought of all these specific ways and specific things, how to make essentially your life easier. And the AI is really just enhancing that and moving you from your efficiency levels should skyrocket. You should, maybe a specific area you haven't seen, you have the ability to ask our Copilot, and and again, it's conversational. So this is where the power comes in here. You can ask and say, no, that didn't work, let's try something else. And this is where the real power kind of starts to show. Last but not least, I want to show you guys something that was launched today. So I don't really have much information on it, but I want you guys who are using Copilot to go and check it out. I think it's something that is really cool, kind of giving you insights of what we've kind of looking at within the platform, and giving you actionable insights of specific things that we recommend you should do, as looking at tickets and things like that. So I think, Muna, I've kind of covered most of the ideas. We do have, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but we'll be here forever if I carry on. So I think that's about it, unless you have anything you wanted to add or want me to show.
Yeah, I actually, because I know that this environment may not have the details, I did grab a screenshot just hot off the press for the AI Center. And I'm glad that you're bringing it up, because great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Jason. So maybe I can do that. And just to add to what Jason tried to show at the last screen, really this is new. I think it's out today for Copilot users and for, I will say, Autopilot beta users. It's a beta program that's not yet fully available. But basically, one of the key questions that you ask yourselves beyond, okay, what can AI do for me? It can save costs, it can increase productivity, it can save time. We feel that savings, but then the big question comes down to, how do I actually measure what is the ROI, and how do I then take those details and insights and take action on them? And this is the exact intent of the AI Center. The AI Center has been designed for Copilot users to give you actionable insights, meaning AI Copilot assisted you on 9 tickets, for example, or you leveraged Copilot on 9 different tickets. And in those tickets, one of the recurring issues we've seen is, for example, the printer issue. And therefore, the AI Center, part of the actionable insights will be to deploy an auto healing profile with a script in order to eliminate this recurring problem. Another actionable insight could be ensure that you have a profile to reboot devices weekly, for example, because we've seen that that's the second biggest issue. So it takes a look at your entire platform, how you're leveraging Copilot, how many knowledge base articles you've created. I know we didn't touch on ticketing today, but we have a dedicated session on that in 2 weeks if you're interested. How many summaries, how many tickets, how many scripts, where are the scripts that you created being deployed? So really, this is a place for you to leverage Copilot and then come here and optimize your experience with it. And we would love for anybody using this or will start using it. Let us know what you're trying to measure. What are those KPIs that are meaningful to you? Whether it's hours saved, time saved, impact on a specific technician. Let us know, and we'll be happy to add any of those metrics. Um, I do see a question here, and I know we've left places for questions at the end, and this is something, Jason, we probably should have addressed right at the beginning. This is Atera's AI Copilot. It is nothing to do with Microsoft Copilot. We are partnered with Microsoft and using OpenAI embedded into our private Atera instance. But the Copilot is a complete Atera development that is contextual to IT. Okay, so we started off, and maybe this gets me to the second part here of how are customers leveraging it today, and why is this different from anything outside? So today, we have a lot of Atera customers that have already, I would say maybe even above 25% of our current install base are actively leveraging AI Copilot, and they've collectively already had more than 500,000 conversations, created more than 145,000 command lines. We didn't touch on generating command lines, but it's a very, very popular and common use case of Copilot. Over 98,000 scripts created by AI Copilot. By the way, a lot of those scripts are then saved into the generic repository that can be used by all of the other Atera users. And then a part that I love, one of the key features that I really find super valuable is the knowledge-based article creation. I know that creating knowledge-based articles takes a very long time, and it usually comes with a lot of experience on how, recurring issues and what's the best practice. And what's great with Copilot is you can bucket a few tickets that have a similar issue, takes a look at the resolution, and it, within a few minutes can generate a KB article that gives you the best practice of how to resolve an issue. So this is just some insights. It's not a gimmick. It's something out there that customers are using and leveraging to its fullest. So I really invite you, if you need more information on your unique use cases and you are an Atera customer, reach out to your customer success. They will more than happy to assist you and help you get going. And if you're not yet using Copilot, but you are an Atera user, you have a 14-day trial that's available to you. If you don't see the access to the 14-day trial in the platform, reach out to support or to your account managers, and we'll be sure to make that available to you. So let's see if there's any additional questions. We'd love to hear from the audience.
I want to
know.
just I want to just say something. I think that's important here is we are aware, number one, of the fact that ChatGPT has the ability and power to write scripts and things like that. We are aware, but I think, and this is why I try to give you guys the most important ideas and the most important examples, is the fact that we have the agent on the device. That's something that nobody else can do, that ChatGPT has no access to. We have the agent on the device. We have the ability to run diagnostics on the device. We have the ability to run a script on the device. And this is where I think the real efficiency comes in, because we have the Copilot embedded into our platform, where we have the agent pulling information all the time. And this is where I think the real power of Atera's AI and Atera's AI Copilot, where the real power is.
Absolutely. And we started off with talking about, that this AI Copilot is infused across the platform, and it's really there to consolidate, and it's contextual based on where you're using it. So for that example of real-time device diagnostics, offering you a solution through the script and then deploying it and solving the ticket. So it's really taking a look at the entire platform from the ticket coming in, summarizing it, diagnosing it, creating the script, and then deploying it and solving the issue. Jason, this has been super valuable. Thank you so much for that quick demo. I know you gave a glimpse of some of those common use cases, but I'm sure the audience knows that, and can see that it's really, there's a lot there that you can look at and test for yourselves. We invite you to do that. Thank you so much for your time and for attending today. I do want to remind that we are running a AI Wednesdays series, each time touching on the different areas that you can leverage AI, not just Copilot. We have a session coming up this Wednesday, if you are interested and have time, where Atera CEO is going to talk about the next phase within Atera, which is the shift to autonomous IT. And we'd love to hear, is your team ready to take on autonomous IT? So we'll be breaking down what that really means and hearing from the CEO about what those next steps look like. We then have a session on the following Wednesday, AI and IT. Is it an opportunity or an obstacle? And here we're going to be talking to our experts about how to overcome that first step in justifying the cost and then justifying the team effort and how to start implementing. So you're welcome to join that. And the last area we didn't touch on today is really, how do I use Copilot on the help desk side? So we have those sessions. Feel free, visit our website. You have an easy access here through the QR code. And join these webinars. I'm sure there's a lot for you to learn, and we'd love to hear the feedback. Anything else, Jason, from your end
No,
before I launch the survey?
no, I think I enjoyed it. I hope you guys found the value in it. Yeah, I really enjoyed spending the time here. So thank you all for joining.